Hello everyone, so last video of this mini series about resource planning, and now I'm going to talk with you about earned value planning. So what exactly is earned value management? It's a little bit, like I said, it's connected to resource planning, and it's connected with the way we do the budget. But it's more for us here in this video to understand is what does it mean and how can it be interpreted. It's easy to calculate for most cases. It can be very complex as well, but I'm not going to cover that part in this video. So first of all, what is earned value management? It's a methodology that combines scope, schedule, and resource management in order to understand the performance of the project right now. Is the project going well? Is it okay? Or is it really bad? So it answers the big question, how is the project going? So the first thing we have to understand is that there are three main definitions here we need to know. And those definitions, the first one is planned value. So what is planned value? Like we've seen before when we create the budget, planned value is the numbers we place on the budget, is how much I plan or I want to spend on each task of my project. So the big question we answer here is how much we plan to spend in each task. And then to calculate all this, or the planned value is composed by all the task level budgets. It's like for every little task you have, in a way, you are creating a budget to know how much you're going to spend. And our big budget is just the collection of all the budgets of these little tasks. The second definition I need you to know is actual value. Now, this is how much I actually spent. We all been in the situation we plan to spend a certain amount of money to buy something. For me, it's to go out or drink a beer, but I always end up spending a little bit more, or sometimes a lot more, than what I actually plan to spend. So actual value is the actual project expenditure. How much did I really spend? And here, therefore, I answer the big question that I answer is how much did we spend in each task in reality? So this is based not on our plans, but it's based on the work actually done through the project. And therefore, my goal obviously is that to have my actual cost always similar to my planned value, ideally a little bit lower. The last one I want to talk then is about the concept of earned value. Now we see that throughout the project we plan to earn some value, we plan to spend some money, and we plan as well to and then we have the values that we actually spend. But here, this category here is more an assessment to understand the actual progress of the project. So here we answer, for example, how much have we spent so far? How many tasks have we done so far? What is the overall percentage of work that we already completed? For me, whenever I calculate earned value, I like to calculate these two numbers. Out of all the work that needs to be done, what percentage of work has already been done? And I calculate that, for example, based on the number of hours that it would be necessary over the number of hours I already invested on the project, divided by the number of hours I plan to invest on the project. The other calculation that I have is how much money I spend already on the project, divided by how much money I actually plan to spend in total. And this will give me an idea. For example, I might get something like 64%, which means 64% of the project is done. There's still the remaining part to be done, for example. So earned value is always calculated based on the progress of the tasks themselves. I can also calculate earned value for each individual task and say this task is 50% done, 70% done, depend as well on the two categories, how much work I already put or how much money I spent on that task already. So this concept of task level budgets, just giving you an idea. If I have a task that goes through multiple months, how do I divide that money? Well, task level budgets should be planned based upon how the work is expected to be completed. And here there are two main different perspectives. One is more easy, the other one is more better quality. So if you have a task, for example, that let's imagine I start a task on the last week of January and it goes up to the third week of February. So that means 1 week in January and 3 weeks of work in February. There's two ways to divide the total cost. For example, let's imagine the total cost is $4,000, so $1,000 per week, roughly. Here I can do the most simple one called the level loaded. I pick the 4,000, I divide into two, and I put half of the cost in January, the other half in February. The big advantage here is that it's very quick to do and it's very easy. And if you check a previous example, that's what I did in one of the videos on this same mini series. The second option that we have is called event loaded. rather than thinking about dividing it equally, I divide it in a more accurate manner. Like I said, if there's just 1 week of work in January, then I place the cost of 1 week in January, and then I place the cost of 3 weeks in the month of April, in the month of February. So that means on my budget for this task would show $1,000 in the month of January and $3,000 on the month of February. This method is much more accurate, it's much more realistic, but it does give a lot more work, especially if you have thousands of different tasks where you have to do this. So our planned value therefore is our authorized budget, and this is an important thing because it's how much our management or our bosses or our clients have said that we can spend. So planned value, or PV, is the authorized budget assigned to the scheduled work, and therefore here I can divide it into overall project or to each one of the tasks as well. So PV of the project, the planned value of the project is derived using all the tasks, and therefore it will be affected by all the tasks. It is also an estimate cost to accomplish each task, and therefore it means that I have to calculate it for each one because I'm planning what will be the value of each one of those tasks. If my management wants an assessment right now, I might have to check what percentage of the current task is already complete, because my planned value in this case would not be the full value of the task, but just a part of it. Planned value is also scheduled when the task is supposed to be done, and therefore we say that it would be complete when the task is done. So if, for example, your task is already over, then your planned value is the completion of the whole task. Therefore, it's the whole value of the task. But if your task is only half done, for example, again, the same task of $4,000, and if the task is only half done, then even though the task value is $4,000, but my planned value is only $2,000 because that's how much I spent up to that point. Finally, remember that planned value is expressed in two ways. I can have current planned value, which is the current planned value for that month or for a period. In other words, the total planned value for each one of the periods that I wish to analyze. And the second one is cumulative PV, which is cumulative planned value, which is all the planned values since the very beginning of the project up until the moment you are analyzing. And that's it in terms of planned value. It's an extremely important thing to know what it means and how it affects the project, because it's a great communication tool to tell our boss or to tell our managers what percentage of our project is already complete and what they can expect in the near future after you present your values. Thank you very much for watching this mini series. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you on the next video.